You're only going to be as great as everybody else coming along with you.
Wow.
And that's one thing that's really stuck with me in the corporate world, which is I've always had a mentality, and this was instilled at Aerotech under Stephen, that I'm more valuable to the organization if I can develop people that push me out of my role.
Wow.
Like, a lot of people are so worried about somebody taking their job, and like, that's my mindset. Like, I want you to be able to take my job, because ultimately, if that's the case, I'm more valuable, because now there's more people elevating and being more successful that ultimately make the organization that much stronger.
And what you're talking about right now goes right back to sports, which is the best teams play unselfishly.
Correct. Very much. Yeah.
Well, I'm putting that together now.
Yeah.
The best teams, it's not about you, it's about you playing unselfishly. And now, so you've brought that sports, because I know you and your wife are big into sports, really great athletes. So you've brought that mindset of all the team building and
absolutely
not playing selfishly to
because the concepts in the business world are the same, right? It's still being able to help develop individuals, working with their talents and getting them to where they want to be. And if you have that focus, I have found it to be the recipe for success.
The ultimate podcast for entrepreneurship, impactful wealth building, and effective team leadership. It's time to enrich your business and create a lasting legacy. Let's get to work.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm here with my good friend Tim Barger and our franchisee. We're at the 2026 FranCon down here in St. Petersburg. Tim, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, our conversation is why entrepreneurship, and Tim, why now? So, you and I have been friends for a while. Your professional career has absolutely been amazing. You've worked for some really big brands under some really good mentors. So tell us a little bit about your background, and then maybe we'll get into why now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I like you said, I've worked in the staffing business for a long time, worked under some really good organizations, one of the largest private staffing firms in the country, Enrich Group, which had a bunch of tentacles. But back in the day, it was just called Aerotech, right? And a lot of us that came out of school went to work for Aerotech. And I think you could ask thousands of people that had worked there. Their mentors were people that were part of the organization, really guided you, helped you through your career. And it really did have an entrepreneurial feel to it. So I always kind of knew in the back of my mind I wanted to do something, but for a long time it really felt like that. It's like, okay, I was getting a little bit of it, the feeling, but it was always out there burning.
Tell a little bit about, because I listen to that story all the time. I pick your ear about this all the time, because I mean, under Steve Bisciotti, you learned so much, and I love that culture that you guys had of. You're describing it well, that entrepreneur spirit, especially when you were younger.
Yeah, correct. We were all, a lot of us were in their early 20s when we started, right? So it was a lot of playing sports in college really helped. It was the next natural step for me.
Love that.
Because it was a lot of former athletes, a lot of individuals that were ready to just work their tails off, were used to having some guidance, but also used to working in a team. And in the staffing business, especially in the part that I was in, which was more of the project-based staffing, you had a sales team that went out and got the requirements, but you also had recruiters that filled them. But one could not be successful without the other,
defense?
right? Yeah, it's not.
I love that.
It's a sales career where you can sign the dotted line, but unless the recruiters do their job, okay, thanks for signing the paper, right? So it was always that what I call now and use even with my teams, it's that mutual accountability, right? You couldn't be successful without the other person, but you needed to know how to lean in and help them so they could focus on something that the business needed. Wow. And then same thing with the recruiting side. So for instance, if there was a lot of open requirements, the salespeople would help support the recruiters and help them fill the jobs instead of bringing the next one in and the next one in and failing. So it's really, it was a great atmosphere to kind of work in that way. Yeah.
So we're talking about it a little bit now. So how do you think all those earlier careers, not a lot of earlier careers, I mean that career specifically, kind of has prepared you for today and being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, just working with very, very different people, right? And just getting an understanding and getting more patient to listen and understand where they're coming from, and being able to work through a situation together, right? Where, and I find that again a lot on the teams the same way, right? You have different personalities from people all over the place, and all of a sudden you got to figure out how to win, right? So.
So we go back to your sporting days. Is this more of like, I love the way you made that connection,
Yeah,
like
but
being an athlete.
no, but it is really
Yeah.
but it really that's the way the offices were though. When you walked into the office, it was very much like you needed to know how
These
to
are
work
my
with
players.
everybody on the team. Absolutely,
Yeah, this is my team. These
Yeah.
are my players. But that really came from playing
Sports.
sports,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, for
So
sure.
you must have had couple of phenomenal coaches.
Yes, great coaches. I had great coaches. It started with my dad in the early years, right? So, yeah, he coached my brothers and I in playing soccer back in the day.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just that level of the team first, right?
Huh.
You wanted to be the best. You wanted to be the best player, but you also wouldn't do that at the expense of the team.
Tell me about that. I love that because especially being your dad,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but it's one of those things where you have to realize, and it was mainly team sports that we played, right? So, I know it's different in other sports where you have to be the best, right, and be the solo tennis player, the solo, swimmer. Whereas in the team sports, it's you need all aspects of it to win. Right?
Yeah.
You hear that all the time. Certainly, a quarterback can help a football team really elevate. But if their
One
offensive
position.
line's terrible, it's they could be great in the world, but sooner or later, it's not going to work.
Keep going. I want to hear about how did your dad instill that in the team?
That's great.
And where'd your dad get that? Where did
Well, my dad played soccer in college as well.
There we
so
go. Okay.
he was a two-time All-American at
Okay.
University of Baltimore.
Okay.
And so he came from that, right? So he always knew, like, I'm going to teach you guys how
about
to be
the team.
good, but it's all you're only going to be as great as everybody else coming along with you.
Wow.
And that's one thing that's really stuck with me in the corporate world, which is I've always had a mentality, and this was instilled at Aerotech under Stephen, that I'm more valuable to the organization if I can develop people that push me out of my role.
Wow.
Like, a lot of people are so worried about somebody taking their job, and like that's my mindset. Like, I want you to be able to take my job, because ultimately, if that's the case, I'm more valuable. Because now there's more people elevating and being more successful that ultimately make the organization that much stronger.
And what you're talking about right now goes right back to sports, which is the best teams play unselfishly.
Correct. Very much. Yeah.
Well, I'm putting that together like now.
Yeah.
The best teams, it's not about you. It's about you playing unselfishly. And now, so you've brought that sports, because I know you and your wife are big into sports, really great athletes. So you've brought that mindset of all the team building and
Absolutely.
not playing selfishly to
Because the concepts
entrepreneur.
in the business world are the same, right? It's still being able to help develop individuals, working with their talents and getting them to where they want to be. And if you have that focus, I have found it to be the recipe for success.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to ask you questions, and I want to take notes too,
Yeah.
because this is so good right now of how we've made this connection between being a really good athlete in team sports and not playing selfishly, and how that translates into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, for sure.
And then taking that same philosophy, and you did with Aerotech, and looking at everybody like, this is the team, and we're either going to win together and we're
very
going
much.
to lose together. So love that. Thank you for that. So I think that's a lot to do with our habits and our mindset, right? Of
Correct.
having that
Yeah.
mindset of, this is my team and I can't win without them.
Correct. Yeah.
Why now? Like you said, you've had such a amazing career.
Yeah.
Why now? What was that little trigger?
Like I said, it was always there, but I think that really came down to the point where I feel like there's an opportunity to do something similar, but you do it kind of on your own, but now you're building the team from scratch.
Through
right? You
franchising.
through franchising.
Got it.
Absolutely.
Got it.
And you have that ability. Like one of the things that we talked about early on, as we were getting into this, was my initial knowing what you did and what the organization did was like, how can I help in the early childhood learning areas, right?
Yeah.
How much, like, my skills don't really relate to that. But then the more you talked about grow people big, that's when Chris and I were like,
We got that.
That's what we do.
We can do that.
Because we want to get it in. We wanted to be involved in something that really mattered to the community. Really will help develop. And you have children, and our kids have known each other for a long time, and like anything that can help to elevate them
Yeah.
and give them the best chance of success in the future, we're in.
Yes.
And then you add that layer of now you help the teachers become directors, and the directors become franchisees and owners, and really like that is really our goal, is to combine those two. So I feel like this stage in our career, it was a great opportunity to kind of do that with her.
Yeah.
Right. We've always been in different careers, but
Yeah.
very much, similar. We'll talk, and she ran sales, and I ran sales in different industries and different times. But it's really a good opportunity for us to do it together and grow that out. So
Because in both your
Exciting.
careers, you've had to build teams, grow people
Oh,
big
yeah.
and small, just like you just mentioned, grow you to the point where one day you take my job unselfishly,
Yeah.
right? So so taking that, we're both very skillful at this, but we can also be passionate about early education.
Yeah, absolutely. And then for 10 years, I consulted in that business, and what I enjoyed about that was, and Chris will say the same thing. If you ask, over the years, we've talked about it. Like, we consider ourselves to be builders versus optimizers, right? If I was to get put into a job in an organization that's running super smooth, like, we just need you to keep it going. That it's not me. Like, I'm like, I'm much better off in the chaos and the, trying to figure that out, pulling people together,
That's from coming
and
from
then
a big
turning
family.
around. Yeah, well, I mean, it's part of it, right? Yeah. You've been over for
Living in
Thanksgiving,
chaos
right?
and coming out on the other side, everybody's good.
Exactly right,
And learning how to negotiate negotiate through that.
Yeah, for sure.
That's funny.
Even as kids, right?
So let's go back to that moment, right? So you talked about you and Chris both having that skill set, right, of how to build teams, how to motivate teams, how to coach and develop teams, how to drive results. Who brought this idea of entrepreneurship and the opportunity?
We'd been talking about it. When I consulted, technically it was my own company, right? But it was never anything that was scalable. So I enjoyed when I was at clients, and I did it a little different than most consultants that were in my industry. I had one client at a time, right? Most of them have 5, 6 clients. They help a little bit on sales. They help on recruiting and different things. Well, I did it in a way where it was either, a private equity firm that had invested in this organization, or the owners that were saying, hey, we're stuck. Like, we're broken right now. We did great up until this point. Now we're kind of stuck. And that for me was great, but I couldn't have 5 clients like that. I'm like, I'm
Right.
all in, right? So most of them turned into 2 to 3 year assignments that started as 6-week engagements, like assessments and helping them through things. And I really enjoyed that part of it. So I had a little bit of that, but it wasn't scalable. It wasn't like I was going to build a team of 10 people doing it, because you were still kind of going out individually, right? So for me, that wasn't the entrepreneur opportunity for me. So, we had been talking about over the years. You knew when Chris had left her previous position, went to another, didn't really like that organization, and went back. We really started that could be a great opportunity, and let her lead the way in that world. So we've been talking about it for a while, but I think as we've gotten older and gotten to points in our career that we feel like, okay, we've done well. Let's go. Financially, and successful from a business perspective.
Yeah.
It's our time to help give that back to some level, and we feel like that's the best way to do it. We can do it in our jobs, but the best way to do it is when you can, help individuals grow and really do that with the overarching piece of helping the community, helping kids, making sure they're safe, making sure they're growing, making sure they have the environment they need to thrive. So it was a perfect combination for us.
Was there any hesitation, or you just?
No. I think we were both ready to do something.
Okay.
Like, early in my career, there was hesitation. It was more, do I have to be part of a team? Like, am I better in a team environment than on my own? So that was a maturation for myself. Yeah, absolutely.
Love that.
Yeah, because there was opportunities to do little things around staffing, but they didn't make sense.
So what's one thing someone should do before making this transition from corporate world to business owner? I think you just gave us one of the answers, like just seeing yourself in this role of, and what is the requirements of entrepreneurship. And I think one thing here at Celebree is that we're very crystal clear on the owner competencies that we're looking for, right? As far as your ability to coach and develop, team build and inspire. So you probably went down that list and was like, yep, I've done that.
For sure.
I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what would you recommend for somebody?
I mean, I think going back to that self-doubt component, like, you're always going to have self-doubt. So it wasn't that I fixed that. It was like I was okay with that and knowing that, hey, listen, I've shown that I can do this. Why couldn't I do it
Yeah.
with
For
my-
me.
with myself,
Yeah,
for
for
me,
me.
and with my wife, right? So
Yeah.
it's a great opportunity to do that. So I think just getting through the self-doubt and knowing that even in business now, like decisions that I have to make aren't always the right decision, right? But it's like, okay, it was an honest, ethical decision, and we're going to move forward. And if it's not right, we're going to switch gears and go another direction, right? And you use the input from the people to really help guide you there. But they're only bad decisions if you don't have confidence in it being something that does make sense.
And then you don't learn from them.
Correct.
And course correct.
Absolutely.
And now
Yeah.
you're better.
If they're not exactly what you thought, you absolutely are learning.
Wow.
Constantly. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see you guys get your school open. I know
Yeah.
you're
Getting there soon.
getting there
Coming soon. Yeah.
Getting there soon. You guys are going to be amazing.
Well, thank you very much.
So I appreciate it, and thanks
you.
for coming today.
Of course. Anytime. Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to Enrich Your Empire. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn at Richie Huffman Celebree. We've got more great episodes lined up for you, so check back with us soon. Until then, stay inspired, stay driven, and keep building your empire.